Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How we looking over there, baby? Oh, I'm sorry. Can you see me? Huh?
How do you pronounce your Habita Talayam?
It's changed. It's not like that right now. It's called all you gotta do is go to Facebook and you should be already subscribed to it. No, you're just gonna tell me how the live feed is how it sounds and how it's looking.
It's telling you to join, maybe. This is StreamYard.
Okay, just is this your YouTube channel?
Not YouTube. You told me to go to Facebook. This is true.
Go to your YouTube channel. I
I
said.
went to YouTube. I asked you for your account. You told me go Facebook.
You already subscribed to the channel.
I don't. I just post guys showing me something else. So what's your name?
Subscriptions.
Baby, I have a lot of subscriptions. You want to check?
I know that, baby. All you gotta do is flip through your subscriptions up top, right there.
There are too many. I thought you were gonna save me time. And if it's gonna look like that, fine. Change to what now?
The English translation, which is the truth of these days. The truth of these days. So you can hear me.
So we're fighting online.
Okay, I'm just checking, make sure that people are in there. We got people coming in. It always takes a while for people to get up in. In different time zones, you know, and we like to get everybody with peace. Assalamu alaikum. And once again, this is your host, Abu Naima, also known as Brother Gari, host of the Bowtie Chronicles, as you do know. And so this episode right here is a special episode, which is the shoot off of program that I saw last or sometime this week earlier. No, actually it was about a week, 2 weeks ago almost. Okay. In the program, it's talking about masculinity and the term that's being used today, which is toxic masculinity. Okay. And what is meant by the terms. And so what we want to do is we want to delve into these terms and actually take a look at these and examine these, because these are terms that that we definitely need to clarify and go over. You know what I mean? So as not to confuse ourselves with these terms, and what is the proper procedure for a brother, how one should handle himself, okay, in relation to these terms and in relation to life in general, okay, because a lot of terms are there, but they may have some vague realities as far as and they may have ulterior motives when they put these terms out there, okay, but also the terms are definitely you know, are definitely related, okay, to some degree. And so it's our job to go ahead and to go ahead and classify ourselves, and not let others define us, okay? And as men and as females, as women. And so what we really want to do is we want to look at the term, and we want to also look at the term femininity, and look at that in light of this also, because all of these terms are they can be negative in relation to how you use them. And as we know, a lot of these terms have, if we're just using a term with a positive intention without ulterior motives, of course, the term has, a basic positive, connotation. So it's all about the intent behind the terms and how they're used. So when we talk about masculinity, what we're really talking about are the characteristics that make up the man or the male, and we're talking about all the positive traits. We're talking about strength, care, to be a caregiver, and to be one who provides. Okay, so when we talk about providing, we talk about providing on a large scale, not just providing substance, but also providing spiritual as well as mental guidance. Okay, not that all of us are equipped. You know what I mean? We can only give what it is that we have access to, and sometimes we need to be mentored by others to be able to provide that. And a lot of that, if like studying and so forth, you study with people so as to be able to to provide for your own, those things in which you study. So if one doesn't have someone to actually take from, what happens at that point is that one takes from oneself. And, that can be positive or that can be negative, depending on where you are spiritually and where you are as far as knowledge is concerned. Because when we talk in terms, it depends on, because, a lot of people, we're using a lot of interpretation. And when we deal with as far as faith, as far as Islamic faith is concerned, the levels of interpretation have boundaries. Okay. But of course, outside of that, by following our own personal desires with interpretation, what happens is that a lot of things that that are clearly understood can actually be misunderstood. So that's the reason why it's important to have direct contact with someone, or you have had contact with someone who can teach the basics as far as as far as what you need, as far as religiously. Also, as far as being a provider, you need to be able to mentor men to show them how to provide and how to work, to be caregivers also to their families and stuff like that. So all of those are things that men learn from other men, or they could learn them also from females. But there are certain quality traits that a female can't, she just can't give to her son, and this is the reason why this topic is important, because a lot of our young men, or men that are taking on families at the moment, a lot of them were mentored or they were raised without father figures. And so in the process, when you have a situation like that, you have a situation where he's going and he's learning as he goes. So of course, with that process, there's a lot of difficulties. There's a lot of mistakes that are made, and it's it's a learn as you go. It's kind of like an on-the-job training situation. Also with females, it's like that too, because the earlier generations, as far as when my grandmother was growing up, and also in most parts of Africa, is that women are pretty much trained in certain basic quality traits and so forth. And boys, because their fathers are there, they learn some of those things. Just a lot of things that we do that are slightly different, that we think that they're masculine and so forth, when in fact a lot of those things may not be masculine. Like as far as in Africa, men hold hands, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're gay. But if they were seen holding hands in America, automatically we would take those as queer traits. And that's because of, I think that has to do with us and our phobia towards homosexuality and those abnormal traits. Okay, where as far as I've seen men that they're men all the way through, and they just didn't, they didn't feel anything was wrong with holding another brother's hand and just talking to him like, yeah, just being brothers. You know what I mean? I felt it. I felt weird, of course, because I have baggage that comes from the States. And so because we have that different upbringing and awareness, there's just certain things that we just don't do. And so, it depends on the person, and so it depends on who you are and how you're actually raised, so because of that, people have a tendency to, to feel a particular way or act a particular way at times. And that's to be understood, that's just, that's a us thing, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, that it's something wrong with those brothers that, that do that. Okay. It's nothing wrong with those brothers. It's just that that's something that's foreign to us because of our upbringing and where we come from. You know what I mean? So, that those things have to be made clear when we're dealing with other people, so that people don't, misunderstand and misconstrue certain behavior traits that people have. You know what I mean? So, I remember once I saw a video of, I think it was Mos Def, and he was in Kenya and Mombasa, I believe. Okay, could be Mombasa, I'm not sure, but I think it was in Mombasa, and it was during Ramadan, and he was, doing khidmah, serving people, and just trying to earn him some blessings. Khidmah's when you do service to people, instead of sitting back acting like a celebrity like we know him to be. He was serving people that were breaking their fast, and he was, earning blessings by being of service to people, and the comments that I saw in relation to the video from a lot of, or not a lot, from some people, excuse me, that bean pie, man, woo, man, I just baked some fresh bean pies at bean pie. Took trying to possess my soul up here, man. Woo, goodness. Woo, man. I was thinking about, man, maybe I need to have another piece, man, but I'm glutton for punishment. So in this particular video, the comments that were going on and on in relation to the brother and, speaking on his activity, you know what I mean? And I found it kind of, oh, okay, a lot of these comments are people coming from America that don't basically understand African culture or the way, how people are in Africa, you know what I mean? So because of that, they just, they just don't understand that. And so because they don't understand that, they were judging the brother based upon what they understood, and so, and one sister said, what is that thing he got on? Look like a skirt. It's a longi or a mawis. They call it a mawis in some countries, Somalia. It actually, they wear it in Indonesia. They wear it in, all up through Asia. And actually it comes from Yemen. And so he had on one of those, and it was orange, you know what I mean? Because of, the region of the world, bright colors is like, that's just a thing. And so they kind of like was, the sisters were kind of like slamming the brother based upon their impression of what what a man and, how he's supposed to act or how he's, even dressed. Where as far as, me checking it out and looking at it, knowing, because I got some, I was like, oh man, that joker right there is fly. You know what I mean? And he had this like, almost like a Kenyan shirt that had, something that matched with it. And he had a hat, he had like one of those Omani hats and stuff like the one I got on my head, but it was basically closer to the color of the longi that he had on, And so basically, he was getting judged by a lot of sisters, because of their impression of who he should be, or as far as their impression of what masculine should be. And so that's why the topic of masculinity is so important. And really the real issue is masculinity and toxic masculinity versus toxic masculinity, and why women fall for, negative men who, do the most to them, beating them, cheating on them, all of those things that are counter productive to what the characteristics of a real man and masculinity should be, because that's the whole reason why the term is there, because the term toxic masculinity could be a butch. You know what I mean? Could be, so it could be both ways. It could be a brother that, he's super macho, stumping broads or sisters down, shut up, you know what I mean? He could be like that, or he could be abusive, speaking to females out of turn, using derogatory language towards them. Okay. It could be many different, it could be used different ways. It could be a female masquerading as a man. Okay. So the term, as far as how we looking at it, it can go both ways. Okay. So, we need to, I can hear that. And so the term, it can go both ways, and it can go, it can go for a man, and it can go for a lady. Okay. But to get off into what I listened to 2 weeks ago, or almost about 2 weeks ago, one brother was talking about how a lot of brothers and sisters are not having, or a lot of brothers are not having masculine traits. And what he alluded to in his, this brother's name is Abu Enrique. And, he's a brother that blogs out of Germany. And he had some very good points that he mentioned. And he had some things that I didn't agree with. But one of the things that he was breaking down is what is masculinity, and why do women have a tendency to be in a relationship with negative men over and over again. They may be in like 20, 25, 30, got baby daddies, several baby daddies, and they in all these different relationships with all of these negative men. And when it comes down to it, and they actually get up out of that situation, then they turn right back around and get into another situation with the same kind of guy. And so the issue or the thing that was discussed here is what compels her to keep doing that, okay? And why does she like that? Because a person wouldn't do something over and over again, except that, of course, they like it. You know what I mean? It's not like a person is, well, you know, could be a form of addiction. Who knows? But a person that is doing that, maybe, and the examples that he gave, they were not examples of sisters that were not raised without fathers. These were sisters that had fathers in their houses, okay? And a lot of these sisters had fathers in the household, and they were, you know, they had fathers, but they went to far extremes to get with some bad dudes, or some dudes that had negative traits, okay? And the example that he discussed was, and I found, you know, just the example, I found it like, wow, you know what I mean? Because basically the example he gave was that he looked at families of young girls coming from out of the US, coming from out of the UK and Germany, and flying to Turkey and jumping the border and running over into Syria, into a war zone, to be married, okay? And to be married, but, you know, to be married to guys that already got wives, okay? And so this is the kicker with all of it, is that you know, they're going over there to be with men that already got wives. And so the point that he was trying to make is that what compelled these females to do this? A lot of these women came from they were either European, coming from European background, Indo-Pac background, German background, you know, the different parts of Europe, and Indo-Pac, Pakistani or Indian, or even Bangladeshis, okay? That, and some of them were from other countries that they had been in the UK, and their families are, you know, from the UK for years, Arab background or whatever. But, you know, they're basically, you know, they have no background or no experience with their native country, other than maybe going and visiting, if they've even visited their fathers, their parents' native country. And so out of nowhere, they just went and ran off to Syria to be second, third, fourth, you know, wives and stuff like that. And so his take on the thing was that, and I want you to look at this in relation to how women are in the inner cities. Also, the take on it is that they're at home, they have fathers, and the father's just a regular Joe. You know, he go to work and he, you know, he punches the clock every day, and he comes home and he sits down with his family. He eats curry, you know, he eats basmati rice and chicken 65, you know, and, you know, he's just a regular dude. You know, he goes to the mosque, he prays and everything. But that was not considered to her to be masculine, okay? And so these girls ran away from home with their passports and crossed over into another country. Some of them was like the youngest ones that they mentioned were like 16, 17, you know, and crossed over into Syria to be brides for these young boys that had joined ISIS and were basically, you know, fighting every day and stuff like this right here. And so the take on it that he had was that it's this element of strength that they saw in these men that, oh, if something goes down, he gonna fight over me. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna fight for me, you know? And so this is the only trait that they recognized as, you know, this was the overwhelming trait in their eyes as far as what made these men important to them, so much so to a point where they would run away from home, cross over into Syria, and choose to be wives, not knowing, you know, what the outcome was going to be. You know what I mean? And to be, like I said, first, second, third, fourth wife, you know what I mean? Or fourth. And so what he did was he spoke on that. And then he said, now compare that to women who are in the inner city. And the same situation has always been there. She will choose to be with a dude that she know, a brother that's gonna go upside her head. He's on the corner. You already know what he's doing. You know what I mean? He making fast money. You know, he's selling something illegal, or he taking money. You know what I mean? So, you know, he in other words, he's chasing the bag. And so you got this element that is appealing to her. All right. And so this element is the element that we're looking at in relation to what we're saying here today, as far as what is toxic masculinity, because this right here, these are not character traits of a man. You know what I mean? To, you know, just, you know, go out and, you know, take money, you know, talk bad to a woman and, you know, if need be, go upside her head and stuff like that. Those are not masculine traits. Anyone can do that. Okay. And in fact, that's why the example was made for lesbians that do the same thing. And so now you got toxic masculinity in a lesbian, because she thinks she's a man because she can do these things that she thinks a man would do. You know what I mean? Cheat on her, you know, I don't know what you call them, husband or girlfriend or whatever, or wife. Or, you know, I'm not familiar with the terminology. So she would, you know, and then when she get caught or whatever the situation may be, then she plays her role as a man and, you know, treat her bad or put her back in line, as he said. And so he said that a man doesn't have to necessarily treat a woman bad to put her back in line. But he was saying that a woman does need to know that you're going to check her when it needs to be, if she does get out of line. And by doing that, she's going to respect you, which is some of that I can agree with. Okay. That's with every woman. A woman needs to know that she can't just run rough job over a brother all the time. You know what I'm saying? And just, you know what I mean? A brother has to have a limit to the point where he going to put his foot down, you know, and he learns his woman to a degree where he knows, you know, how much room to give her, you know what I'm saying, before she can't be pulled back in line. You know what I mean? And so all of those elements that he spoke of are pretty much in line with some of the traits that are there, but the positive traits in which I'm looking at are that a brother should have somewhat of an ability to study with his, you know, to teach his wife, and to be able to earn a level of you know, respect from his wife. Because if she don't respect you, she's not gonna listen to you. You know what I mean? And you know, if she don't look at you as a man, and you don't have some masculine traits, she's just not going to listen to you. You know what I mean? And that, that's just, that's just, those are just some of the things that happen. And keep in mind that we're talking about women from the West. We're not talking about women from other countries, which we will. But right now we're just talking about females from the West. Okay, because these are the areas in which the females are basically coming from. And so they're coming from all of these areas, crossing over into these countries, doing all of this, following these dudes, from town to town. They're fighting and everything. And, they get shot at. So all of this excitement is appealing to them. You know what I mean? And, and when you compare it to the brother on the block, in the areas in which we come from, in the inner cities like Chicago, Detroit, New York, you know what I'm saying, Brooklyn, wherever it may be, LA. And so these similarities, you know what I mean? Fifth Ward, Houston, you know what I'm saying? What's that joint called? Studewood, you know what I mean? And so, when you got people coming from these areas and having these character traits, these are the kind of things that girls are attracted to. Okay. And so the real question is why? Is it because the masculine trait or the knowledge as far as what makes a man masculine, as far as what, a real man, has that been lost, or is that not taught? Okay. To the point where those who would basically be trying to understand, they can't understand for the simple fact that it's a lost topic. You know what I mean? So is that the case, to the point where we just don't the topic is we don't we just don't get it. You know what I mean? And so that is in a nutshell what is important here, so as to try to understand what we're dealing with as far as the problems with our young people raising kids, raising girls. I remember being in the community in San Diego, and it just dawned on me that this is not a good place to raise kids. You know what I mean? Because, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I'd do if my daughter came home and told me that, that she's pregnant, you know what I mean? By some calf or something like that. So that's just me. You know what I mean? Which I know other people, they had to deal with that. And so when you're having those kind of problems, for me, that's a bit much. You know what I mean? So, I just, when I think about it, it's like, man, that's kind of, that's kind of hard to have to deal with. And so for me, I just didn't see a need to have, children there. So I would have to deal with something like that right there, And so, that's just that's just, you know, that's just me, you know. Alaikum assalam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And so that's just me, you know what I mean? And that's just a position that, you know, that I have in relation to that, you know, and, you know, and as far as that is concerned, how would, you know, how would I, you know, how would I deal with it? You know what I mean? And you know, walaikum assalam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, you know, and so that is something that for me is scary within itself because you know, I just don't want to be tested like that, you know, and so for that reason, you know, I don't think it's you know, a good ideal to have children in the States. That's just my position. You know what I mean? Others are going to have their own positions, and we're not infringing upon others and their positions. But, you know, that's just my position, you know. And so by looking at what the brother gave or the points that he made, you know what I mean? I found that those points were very significant for the simple fact that a lot of what I've seen a lot of what he's talked, you know, what he's talked about. And when you look back and you see what has transpired and how people gravitate towards certain things, even myself, I remember my first marriage. You know, as soon as I changed and became a changed person, that relationship, we grew out of harmony because that toxic masculinity that I displayed prior to becoming Muslim was being dissolved by true masculinity. You know what I'm saying? Caring and trying to be a loving person and trying to, you know, exemplify the qualities of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And, you know, our early founding scholars in America, you know what I'm saying, like Malcolm X, you know what I mean, Marcus Garvey, and so forth. So when you have certain role models that you can actually, you know, look up to, then it becomes somewhat easy. But it's a day-to-day thing, you know, because, you know, it's about growth, you know what I mean? And mind you, we talking, you know, 1990 when I first took my Shahada. So we're talking like 30 years. And so that whole process and the growth and trying to get a level of control over my own personal nuffs and stuff like that, so that I could, you know what I mean, not be so negative, have a positive outlook, you know, on life and how I treated people also, though, you know what I mean, because that's a major part also, you know what I mean, how I treat other people, you know what I mean, or how I would treat other people. So, you know, with all of that, you know, being, you know, displayed, I have to admit, it's a task, it's a trial, because you don't, you know, you know, it's not an easy path. You know, you're walking a long road, you know, and that road that you walk takes time, you know what I mean, and growth. is a process. Growth don't come overnight. You know what I mean? And you just don't, you know, and you make a lot, you know, you make mistakes. And in the process of making those mistakes, you have to recognize your errors and make, you know, adjustments, because that, you know, that's just how it is when you're learning. And you don't have role models that are right there in front of you. You know, you may read about certain people, and then eventually when you find someone that can mentor you, and you can ask them questions, and get sound advice on certain things, then at that point you start to understand the blossoming of wisdom and how to deal with, you know, with your nuffs and yourself, you know. And that's just, you know, that's just not an overnight thing. It just don't come overnight. So it's a process and it's a pattern. You know what I mean? And it's a long road, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's a real long road, you know. And we get on the road, you know what I mean? And you know, it takes time. You know what I mean? So I say that to say that I'm nowhere near where I need to be at, you know, and I know that. But you know, in light of how and where I was 30 years ago, you know what I mean, I'm closer to where I think I should be. Just put it like that. I'm closer to where I think I should be. You know what I mean? Because one can be, you know, one can be, you know, somewhere, but he may not be exactly where he wants to be. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it takes time for you to actually to accomplish all of the things that you're trying to accomplish. You know what I mean? And you know, when that takes to place and you get to where you need to be at, you know what I mean? That, you know, you give thanks and you know, you keep striving, you keep moving forward. You know what I mean? Like that. But on the flip side with that, when we talk about masculinity, the question of femininity comes in also. Okay. And I think that a lot of females have taken on masculine traits. And that's why there's a lot of conflict in relationships, is because the misunderstanding of roles. What's your role and what's my role? You know what I mean? And a lot of that has to do with when women are in the workplace, because, you know, they crying that, you know, or not crying, let me change that. They're, you know, hollering that, you know, hey, we need equality and so forth. So, okay, you need equality. Okay, you can work. You know what I mean? So now the sister's working. Now she's tired. And then she's complaining now because you want it to be equal. And so with equal, you know what I mean? These are things that, you know, I don't have a problem with. You know, as a man, most men say, oh, you know, I don't really have no issue with it. But all of a sudden, when you give it to her, now she's complaining about how tired she is, because you being equal, you can't do what a man does. You know what I'm saying? Some women can, but very few. I remember one time I was working construction when I was in the union, and there was a got my man on here. You know what I'm saying? I see you, Aki. I see you, Aki. I see you. Assalamu alaikum, Aki. I see you up in the house. I see you in the house. I can't hear you though. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's kind of you know, it's not really all that loud. Well, introduce yourself, brother. Let the people know where you coming from. You know, where you residing at the moment. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna do a recap on what I went over already.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. I'm from Philly, actually born in Jersey, raised up in Philly, but moved to Cali when I was like 16.
Philly in the house.
In the Bay Area for a couple of years, and now, alhamdulillah, I'm stationed in the UAE, Dubai, Fujairah, close to Dubai. But inshallah, I'll be leaving here soon.
Okay, it's free. It froze up just a little bit right there. Okay, so that's my man, brother Dawood, right there. You know what I'm saying? And that's my beloved brother right there, man. Straight up out the Philly, man. That's my people right there, man. Oh man, that's my brother. Oh man. Oh boy, that's my brother right there. Oh man. So yeah, man, I'm happy to have you on here, my brother. And you know, what I was doing was I was actually going over the topic and explaining. It's a spinoff from a blog that I watched about almost 2 weeks ago. And the brother was talking about masculinity and toxic masculinity. And as far as what masculinity is, we already understand that, you know, these are character traits that a man has that makes him, you know, sufficient, like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, a caregiver, a provider, you know what I'm saying, a protector, and all of that right there. Okay. And also one who imparts knowledge and wisdom to his flock, you know, his wife, his kids, and so forth. And so on the other half, we went into what is toxic masculinity. And so toxic masculinity now I know you're ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a spin as far as what could be toxic masculinity. Okay. And you know, because it's a term that's being used out there. When a man has masculine or masquerades as you know, in masculine form, but does negative activity with that you know, with that energy, meaning abuses women, you know, physical abuse, you know, battering women, cheating on women. It could be that, you know, and also it could be a woman masquerading as a man. Okay, that's definitely toxic masculinity, my brother, because that right there ain't the real deal. You know what I'm saying? So understand what I'm saying is that toxic masculinity can come in many different forms. It could come from a brother who is trafficking young girls, you know what I mean? And so the example that the brother gave, I'll try to do a recap over what I covered. The example that the brother gave was, he talked about in Europe and also in the United States, a lot of young Muslim girls left their houses, 16, 17, 18, you know, 20, all the way up to 25, took their passports, took flights, went all the way to Turkey. And a lot of these girls come from households that come from Muslim families, and they come from families where their father's in the house. So they had an example of what a man was, okay? And he's a provider, you know, they had all of that, but they were attracted to dudes running around parading as the Sahaba and the Prophet Muhammad out on the battlefield. And so these young girls ran off to be second wives, third wives, and fourth wives. You know what I'm saying? All off in the battle zone because of the ideal.
They could have came to my crib.
They had to go through all of that.
No, man, I'm just keeping it real. I'm keeping it real. They had to go through all that.
But understand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. My brother's a provider. He on the real with his. And so look at, so they crossed all the way over into a war zone to be in this situation. But why did they do it? Okay, they did it because when you compare with what they thought in their mind, what was masculine energy, they saw it over here. Oh man, these brothers over here, these is real men. They're gonna protect us. So they're looking for protection. They're looking for somebody that, you know what I mean, that's gonna get out there and you know, put them hands up and do the job. So they ran across borders to find that. And so what the brother did was the brother made a comparison, and he said, when you look at in our inner cities, the majority of sisters that actually get with a brother, she may have 25 or 30 times been with knuckleheads. But that 31st time or that 32nd time is right around the corner. She can't resist it. Why? Because, as he said, she don't know what real masculinity is. And so she's attracted to toxic masculinity because she hasn't seen the elements of masculinity in a man. And then when she does get, you know, a whiff of it, she signed the brother off like he a trick or something. Why? Because that's not what she used to. You know what I mean? And she like, you know, oh, you ain't got no gun. I thought you was G. You know what I mean? So in her mind, you know what I'm saying, what she believed to be, because you know what I'm talking about, because you from Philly, man.
But you should have a gun. If you in the hood, you should have a gun. I'm with her on that one. Why you gonna protect your family? Somebody run up in your crib? Why you got no gun? You lacking.
Okay, let me say this right here. Everybody in the hood don't need to carry a gun, because look. It's certain. It's certain people that the level of immunity as far as who they are is already identified. And I'm gonna give you an example. I get what you're saying. I remember in Oakland, California, and I'm just giving you an example of how deep these brothers was and how their reputation, how they rolled. There's a faction from out of the Nation of Islam that was under Yusuf Bey.
Mm-hmm. I met some of the brothers out there. I know exactly who you're talking about. I met some of the brothers out there in Oakland.
Now, something had happened in one of the corner boys out there, and he had shot one of the brothers in the Nation. And I'm not sure. I don't know if he killed him, but I know he shot one of them. The Nation put all bulletins out, hit all the neighborhoods that dude is, you know, and all the projects. They out. By the time the next morning came, the brother had already turned himself into the police. You know what I mean? Why? Real masculinity. Even though he thought he was, he thought he was Superman because he out there on the block with that gat. When it came down to it, these brothers are unarmed, but he knew what the consequences were. He said, I'd rather go deal with the pigs. You know what I'm saying? Brother turned himself in. So understand what I'm saying is that
I was joking with that, but taking it seriously 100%. I know what you're trying to convey with the whole idea of if you ain't got that, then you ain't that. 100%. Before we go on a little bit, I just want to touch on this word, toxic masculinity, because I've been hearing it a lot, and it really upsets me because masculinity,
and that's the reason why I'm putting it out there.
Masculinity by its nature is something that Allah created when He created our father Adam. And you know, He said, "Laqad karamna bani Adam." The children of Adam is already ennobled by Allah. They're favored. And our father was the first man, and from him came woman. Not like this Western society like to tell us we came from woman. It's a totally different thing. Now, what's funny about this whole idea, this term toxic masculinity, it comes from females, feminists, who says there's a thing called toxic masculinity. Now, they have the nerve to tell us what masculinity is, but if we try to flip it on them and tell them what femininity is, they flip out and say, you don't know what a woman is. How you going to tell us? Well, y'all came from us. So we have more of an idea about y'all than y'all have about us if you coming from a godly perspective. Now, masculinity by its nature is pure, is upright, because it was created by Allah for a purpose. The masculine role was created by Allah. As Allah says, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا تَجَلَّى وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى, by the one who created the male and the female. And He compared them day and the night, the same thing. We have different functions. So the masculine role in its entirety cannot be toxic. It's impossible. People have toxic behavior, just like women. If you see a woman when she go into her dark side, I'd rather have a toxic dude after me than a toxic female. Because when I'm out of his sight, it's over. I'd rather have a toxic dude coming from me any day than a toxic female. Believe me, I'd rather have that be. But ain't nobody talking about that. So I want to clarify that one point. It's not toxic masculinity. It's dudes out here who are not on their job. If anything, they're not being masculine. They're not being toxic. They're being toxic to themselves because they're not living up to what Allah created them to live up to. They're being something other than masculine.
Okay.
Now
So what term? So what term are we going to give it then?
We could say toxic behavior because if there's a such thing as toxic masculinity, because masculinity is would you say? Let me ask you this: the masculine principle is a natural thing, right? It's not something we come out to learn.
Okay, let me say this right here.
It's naturally ingrained into you. Masculinity is being masculine, being a male. That's something ingrained in you. They try to tell us it's taught, but it's not. And most people,
I ain't talking about what they say. Okay, let me say this right here. Okay. Since you asked the question,
growing up, I'm gonna tell you something. Growing up in my neighborhood, right? Do you know most of the people who told me to be a man and what a man was supposed to be?
Okay, so now we talking about something totally different now. Okay,
no, because you said why these sisters go after these type of men, but I'm gonna tell you, and where we come from, if there's no fathers, usually it's a woman telling you be a man. A man is this, a man is that. Be a man, telling you how to be a man when they themselves don't know how to be men.
Yeah, that's my whole, and that's what I covered earlier.
This whole thing is built up. But what was the question? Because I wanted to go back to that when you said about the females.
Okay. So my point here is this right here, is that when you talk about toxic masculinity, we have to separate the behavior of a male from a man. Okay. Yes. So when we separate those two, all right, if one does not meet the conditions, all right, then he's not a man. But that don't take away his maleness. Okay. So we can't totally cut him off from from being a male. So he has some toxic. You understand what I'm saying? So
but see, the problem with this word is, what if so because they say, perfect example, by their definition of this, polygamy would make you a toxic man. You can't just be with one woman. You a toxic man from their perspective. I can't. That whole word toxic. It's to say that what I do, because my nature as a man. Sometimes I'm aggressive. Allah made us aggressive. You're supposed to be aggressive. That's not toxic. Is it up to you to tell me when I'm being toxic or not? Who sets the rules on what makes me toxic? That's the problem there too. Because if we're going to agree with this thing called toxic masculinity, who makes the rules?
For us, the rules are defined by our faith. Okay. So if we talk about, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point as far as why I looked and I said, it's like the rule that's set for a prophet and a messenger. Okay, because every prophet is not a messenger. Okay, all right, but every messenger is a prophet. Okay, so likewise, every male is not a man, but every man is a male. Okay, so you may have a person that is toxic, okay, but that doesn't mean he is void of all of, you understand what I'm saying? Unlike the term that they're using and the way they're using it, that's why I say we have to make up our own
would you term. Every man, I would say this. I would try to verbalize it like this. Every man is a male and every male is a man, but not every man is living up to his potential of his manhood.
I have to change that. Why do I say that? Hold on. I heard you. I heard you. But why do I say that? It's because man has conditions. To be a man has conditions. Okay, if you go back to the Dean, okay, when it mentions you know, the man, there's conditions there. You take care of your business, you provide for your kids. You see what I'm saying? Now you can be a male and you don't have those responsibilities. Okay, that right there has nothing to do with being a man. You could be, you know, just taking up space, drinking water, eating food. You know what I mean? Living in your mom's basement. You know what I'm saying? Not doing nothing. You know what I mean?
That's comfortable though.
It's comfortable. It's comfortable, but on video games.
Who's that playing with Jack? I'm tired of working, Naki. You hit a soft spot in my heart. I'm tired of working.
You are not the only one. So the end plan, the end plan is, what are you going to do? That's the whole point. You know what I mean? And so, you know, you got to find an end plan. You know what I'm saying? Like what I'm doing. You gotta take some of that money. You got to go ahead and buy that piece of property. You know what I'm saying? And you got to go ahead and you know what I'm saying?
No, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was hearing what you were saying. I didn't mean to take you off for that one. But I'm hearing what you're saying this.
And
you're saying from a religious standpoint, right?
From a religious standpoint,
there's conditions to being a rajul opposed to being a dhikr. A rajul is different from the dhikr. Is that what you're saying? The man as in a rajul is different than the dhikr. Because a rajul has conditions to reach. That's why, because me and my brother was having this discussion about, because, you know, I heard, I'm not going to say the scholar's name, but he said that a scholar mentioned, and he was talking on the ayat, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعض على بعض. And he said the reason that Allah didn't, he said that doesn't mean, he said, the scholar tried to play with some words and said, a rajul is anyone who stands on their 2 feet. And I was debating with this sister with this, right? And I said, the scholar said, why didn't he say الذكور قوامون على أناث? And then it came to me. Me and my brother was talking about it. It came to me. I said, it's simple. The reason Allah didn't say male is over top of females, that would mean when a baby is born, his mother will have to give him authority. But once you become a man and you meet those conditions, you become the caretaker of every woman around you if there's no other male. For instance, a son becomes the rajul of his mother, not in a respectful manner, of course, but she has to submit to the authority given to him if there's no other men standing up fulfilling that condition. So I understand what you're saying now. And I agree with you on that level. Yes.
Okay, so all that point about
Yes.
Okay. And he has been given. And so this whole part about what he has been given also comes about from what? Righteous means.
No, wait. 100%. But before that, people forget this one part. Because anfaq is a part of it. But Allah started off with بِمَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضُ عَلَى بَعْضٍ.
That's that. I just said that. I just said that's the whole point.
The anfaq comes next. The anfaq comes next. It's the fadl. Because some people can have money, they still ain't with more than other people.
But that part right there, it's about what Allah you for the So here, you get your money from illegal means, you're not meeting the conditions of a Rajah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so your provisions have to be sound provisions also, in order for you to meet the conditions here. All right. So
can I say something controversial?
Go ahead, bro. That's what you here for.
It might sound controversial, but I'm gonna be real with you. From the majority, and I'm not talking about everyone, but from the two sides, when you look at the ones who we're talking about, those females that choose the guys that seem like they're doing something right. When I looked at that, and I analyzed that myself, because I always want to say, they always say nice guys finish last, and the reality is most nice guys are simps. They punks.
Say it again. Go. I didn't hear you. It kind of paused. Say it again.
Okay. I was talking about the whole nice guy and bad guy analogy. And what I've recognized why most women don't like the nice guys, because the nice guys are usually that guy who acts like he's the friend. He friend zones himself, and he'd do anything just to be around a girl, just to smell a t-shirt. These dudes are simps. They suckers. They punks. And they can smell that on them. Now, while the bad guy might have a bad personality, he still fits more of what a man is than that man who's doing his thing, but he a punk and he's sucker. Because women need men who are direct. You think, why do they fall for pimps? Why do they fall for these crazy cats? Because they're direct. They speak it straight to the point. They handling their business in a way in which a woman finds attractive. They can tell that woman no. They can tell that woman, no, I'm not going to do that. Sit down. Stop it. And this is the nature of a woman. Say that again?
I agree with you. But
these so-called nice guys, they might be making the money and stuff, but most of these cats they got their issues too. They just look nice, but when you sit with them, they not mustaqim. They not real dudes.
Okay. So let me say this then. Okay.
And I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying all of them. But I'm saying that could be one of the reasons why these sisters be falling for
that dude. And you're right. Yeah. Okay. But you didn't size up that woman. Okay. And so now you're talking about certain character traits. A lot of times, a lot of that negative energy that comes out of a brother comes out because a lot of these women got masculine traits. They got masculine traits. And so they force a brother to go ahead and, you know what I'm saying? And that shouldn't be the case. But that's what happens a lot of times, is that they force that out of you. And the guy who, a lot of these dudes who, they just like, I don't want trouble. And so, yeah, they're nice. They just don't know. Some dudes just don't know how to parlay with females like that. And so they get friends, and that is true. Okay, but that don't make that guy not what he's supposed to be just because the female doesn't have female characteristics.
Can I tell you how I know he's not?
Understand what I'm trying to say?
Now I'm gonna tell you how we know he's not the man he's supposed to be. Because no real dude, dude, and I'm talking about realness, a real stand-up man will never be friend zoned. Because if he likes a girl, he's not going to stay around her and hope that he likes her back. He's going to be very upfront. And a lot of dudes out here are not upfront. And I believe this comes from this whole dating game. This is one of the biggest fitness. People don't recognize.
I agree with you, but
dating when they introduce
everybody ain't from Philly
and dating chicks,
everybody ain't from Philly. Everybody ain't from Philly and everybody ain't from Cali. You know what I'm saying?
You from Cali. So you know what? Why sisters going after these dudes? You know why though?
Look, but that's my whole point. Everybody ain't from Philly and everybody ain't from Cali. So every dude hasn't had the training to know how to do that. So therefore, you can't fault the man for being not having those traits. What I would say is that some of those traits they're a protection for brothers like ourselves because we have that background, okay? And that allows us not to get put in certain categories like a dude like that. But at the same time, it put a stain on the brothers from the past. You know what I mean? So, I mean, come on. You gotta be real, come on. You know how many times
listen, I'm agreeing with you. Listen, we're trying to come up with different theories because there is no other way. The only thing I can see, because first of all, I hate this because if we break it down to its simplest form, when you say why do sisters go for these bad guy prototypes, that means the opposite is the nice guy prototype. Where if you look at this, I hate the word nice guy. I hate when people call me nice. No, I'm not nice. I'm sincere and I'm real and I'm a good dude to the best of my ability. But you never seen my bad side because I never had that to invoke that upon you. But this nice guy, every dude who I see play the nice guy role, they have alternative motives. And women would rather, at least with this guy, listen, with this guy, this guy out here, these guys out here, like these the ones they seen. First of all, I want to talk on that real quick. I don't mean to jump from subject to subject, but I gotta go back to that 16-year-olds leaving the UK. First of all, I believe those stories was exaggerated. The sisters I saw was like in their 30s. They had kids, and they were running to get some man to marry them. It was not no 16-year-old girls.
Oh man!
Because if it was, I'd have been in the UK myself. Like, listen, I'm a real dude out here. I'm in the field. When the real time comes, I'm ready to fight. So listen, sisters, if y'all trying to jump on 4 wives, I'm right over here. You ain't got to go all the way over to Turkey. Come on, why y'all playing around? But it was sisters who were desperate. And listen, you gave me some game, and I tell you said this all the time. And actually, whenever me and him talk, we bring up this point you made. When a person is out thirsty and they're in the middle of the desert, they take that water, as you said. And I'm
they're gonna drink. Yeah, they're gonna drink from a clean well or a dirty well.
So when this brother is talking about that, now these sisters, I can guarantee you, I can tell you the mindset. First of all, the problem is the women, a lot of women up today. I don't want to say all of them, but a lot of them that I've seen. The culture that we have today is a culture in where women are no longer held accountable for anything they do. When they sit there, they cry to somebody, they listen. They can rationalize that everything is the man's fault. And men have in today's society, you have no ability to impose your authority or will on a woman that you're with, whether it be your wife, your sisters, or anything. So you're stuck at a point where you can say something rational and they can still go do whatever they want. Now you got to think about these sisters. And I was married to a UK sister, and I know brothers who married to UK sisters, and I can tell you. And let me just be real. So these sisters who went over there were sisters who probably was messing with brothers who, same knucklehead brothers, and then they look on TV. Oh, these brothers, they in jihad. They doing this. I give you a perfect example. I know I ain't gonna because you got me on here. I don't know who watch it. I know a sister. I know her personally. I used to back in the day, back in the day, you'd be a fan of the jihad videos. I used to love the Chechenian videos when I was a young boy. And I never forget, I was watching Commander Khattab. And the sister came by, he had his beard, he was looking all beautiful. Oh my God, that's a real man. That's a real man. He out there fighting jihad. I want to go be his wife. You ain't no man, that's a real man. And I'm looking like, what are you talking about? This could be, and I respected the brother, but it made me think like, how do you know how he is with his wives? What makes him a real man? But it's that romanticizing that if a man is doing this, then let me go out there, because these brothers out here, they're not doing, if they're over there fighting jihad, they must be on the deen. Now, anyone with common sense, and this again, this is the problem. Anyone with common sense would have been like, sis, you don't know these dudes. You don't know the situation over here. And you're gonna go with you. Why would you leave? We can't even use these. I don't like to use these women as an example, because this is you can't use the what is it? You can't use the extreme to justify the norm. That whole London situation is a whole anybody.
Okay.
That's like a
good point. You made a good point though. You made a good point. You made a good point. That's a good point. Because being thirsty is extreme.
Yes, and that's super extreme. To leave your people and go to a battlefield to find a husband. You going to find a nigga who about to die. You extreme. That means they super thirsty. That brother shouldn't even use that as a. We got to discard that argument. We're gonna go back to the norm. The norm in our community is, yes, you see a lot of good. You see a lot of so-called bad guys and so-called good guys. The good guys usually miss out, and that's one of the biggest, especially in the black community. How many brothers to say, after, you know, sisters always say, you messing with this type of girl, you messing with this. But when we was in school together, nobody messed with me. I was corny. I was having a discussion with one of the young boys I know, because I'm 36 now. He's like 26, 10 years different. Just trying to put him on to some game. And I was asking him, I said, what does corny mean? Because, you know, growing up, that's someone calling you corny. That can mess up your whole life. That's kind of what messed up Will Smith. What does corny mean? And that's, listen, how many black dudes grow up, get called corny, and then they go to the other side? So why is it being cool? Why is it not wanting to dress like everybody else? That's a question. I think that's something that plague our people first as Black Americans. I feel like that plagues us more than anybody else. Because as I've been traveling the world, I'm out here I'm in Dubai, one of the most materialistic places on earth. But I never, in the schools I teach in, I never seen the children trip off of what someone else is wearing. Never seen the cat get played because he's wearing something that's not name brand. Not. They buy the stuff out here, but they don't trip off of it. Yeah, the cars and the houses, that's some type of thing. But off of clothes and stuff, now we come from the, I don't know how it is in Cali, on the East Coast, we come from the poorest neighborhoods, and you know, you would think it's your fault as a child you ain't got the new Jordans. That's how you feel. So maybe it's a systemic thing they put in us to make the men want to follow that lifestyle that the women adore so much. I can't tell you. Because in our community, it is a death sentence as a man if you get labeled corny. That's kind of a death sentence. Nobody want to be the corny dude.
All right, so corny's like a it's a no-go, no-fly zone.
It's a no-fly zone. Look, Will Smith, all the money he got, and everybody call him corny, he just can't get no respect. The man can't get respect. And I don't even care about celebrities. I'm saying in their world. And that's because they are people, we still have an affinity to that. And that's in people's mind.
Mm-hmm. I see you. Yeah. So my whole point, I'm saying again, you know what I mean, is that terms have to be laid out for this part right here. You know what I'm saying? Because my whole thing is that a lot of sisters, man, don't have feminine traits.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
They don't have feminine traits. Okay, and why am I making that claim? I'm making that claim because I've been to Africa and I'm living in Africa, so I'm around women that are raised with certain feminine traits, you know, and so these kind of traits are like prevalent. That they're all over the place, and it's not something that, you know, hard pressed. I know a sister told her brother, man, I ain't gonna mention no names, man. This just recently. Sister called her brother, man, told her brother she wanted to be his wife because he's finna go to Africa, and he was like, nah, you know, I'm not trying to get married right now. She told him, oh, you want to go to Africa and get one of them submissive women? And he looked at it. He told his sister, what's wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you know, you want to go get that job that's paying that good money? Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? And so just the whole point is that you shouldn't want that. You know what I mean? So the fact that a person impresses upon you what they think is best for you, and they don't have your best interest at mind, you know what I mean? Because everyone has his own experience as to what it is that he prefers based upon his own track record. You know what I mean? Because if you've been around the block, you already know what you don't want, and you already know what you want. You know what I mean? So that you don't have to, you don't want to get your wheels stuck in the mud again. You know what I mean? And so when you get out in the desert. Huh?
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I think femininity is misconstrued.
Okay.
It's something, as you said, just like real masculinity. I think it's something that is passed down and not talked about and taught. Most people I've met, especially coming from the Western world, like you said, being a traveler, you see it. Like I see the femininity outside of America. Where in America, a woman think because she's soft spoken and she do certain things as feminine traits. No, because men can be soft spoken. You know, seriously, that's not a feminine trait. This is where toxic masculinity come from, because these are people trying to tell us what our traits. No, just like you have some men who are very effeminate. Maybe that's just their nature, but they're not gay and they're not feminine. They just have these qualities. But what is, as you said, being submissive, if we go, and this might sound controversial, but I don't care. Being submissive is a feminine trait. Being dominant is a masculine trait. So everything you do, but being the point that you won't submit to my authority as a man, you're not feminine to me. And you're constantly fighting my energy. So of course you're going to turn me into a toxic, incredible hawk in my house because I gotta fight you for everything I want to do. You just don't want to submit. That's a rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa.
Oh boy.
I mean, you can't. Allah says, "Qulu qawlan sadida, yuslih lakum a'malukum." You gotta speak a word straight to the point. And the problem is, yes, when that sister said that's the most feminine thing ever, the woman's gonna be submissive. Yes, of course, that's what I want. I don't want no strong.
Why would you? Yeah, why would you not want that? Yeah, why would you not want that? Why would you not want that? Yeah, and that's just, you know, that's the flip side of you know, the reality there. You know what I mean? Is that you can't find what it is that is actually a quality that should be there. You know what I mean?
And that's the main.
It's getting late. I think, I definitely think that you got to go to work in the morning. Y'all back to work already?
Yeah, we are. I'm teaching from home.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we back to work already too, my brother. And I didn't want to stay on here too long, but you know, this is definitely a topic that needs to be gone over. Actually, yeah, no. It was the week before last. We went over what did we go over the week before last? Because last week I actually I canceled last week because I wanted to go over something. Oh, I had some sisters on. I had some sisters on here. I had some sisters. I'm serious. I had some sisters on here last week.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have some sisters on here. Go to my YouTube channel. Look up the live streams. I have some sisters on here, and the sisters were what were they talking about? What are the 5 characteristics that that you would want in a spouse? And one of the sisters that was on the panel, you know the sister. That's why I said go and you know, check it out. You know what I mean? And you know, sister from the UK, by the way.
So, yeah. I might just have to. Come on, Aki, stop making me go my dog. You about to turn me to?
No.
People.
And this, I asked her to. I told her to try to find me 2 or 3 sisters that could, because I don't really know sisters like that, you know what I'm saying, other than my wives and stuff like that. And, you know, sisters don't want to come on here. And so I told her, I said, you know, can you contact some sisters and see if they will come on? And she said, yeah, I'll do that. And so she contacted some of them. And so only one sister came on with her. This sister came from out of California, I think. And she came on. And, you know, it was good. And then we had some brothers call in and chime in. So that was real good. You know what I mean? That was, yeah, it was good because brothers had a lot of questions. You get input from a female, it goes a long way for a brother. And, you know, so yeah, it was good. And I'm happy to have a brother on here, man. It was good to have you on here, to see you again, Aki, man. And
I'm gonna just leave you with this, Aki. Hold on, before you go, I want to leave you with something.
Okay.
You know the story of Suleiman and Bilqis, right?
Say it again now.
You know the story of Sulaiman and Bilqis in the Quran.
Yeah.
This story has a lot of hikmah in it, and me and Yusuf was going over it. Now, what's amazing is the Hudhud came to him and told him there's a kingdom, right?
Yeah.
And they have a woman ruling over them, and they worship the sun. Now, if you think about that historical process in the historical time, there was a lot of kingdoms around him who wasn't serving Allah, but he didn't deal in their politics. But when he found out it was a kingdom being run by a woman, he couldn't let that go. And he a letter. Wait. Let me finish, Aki. Let me finish. He didn't send a letter with any diplomacy. He said, "You coming in to submit. And if you don't, I'm going to bring an army to you that you won't be able to deal with." This is how you talk to women, Aki. With respect and honor, and it's something else. It's something else. What did he do? Now he tested her in two ways. First, he had her throne brought to her.
Yeah, he had her throne sent to his
her. Now here goes the other thing. When she got the letter from him, she was all flabbergasted by the way he talked. I never seen a man start off with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. She put that to the men around her. Like, what type of person is this? Now, this is another thing you gotta look at. The type of woman you're going after. You can't be a peasant trying to get with Bilqis. There's levels to this. If you're a peasant, you can't talk to Bilqis like that. You gotta be Sulaiman to talk to Bilqis like that. And then you bring her throne here. And when she recognized her throne, she recognized to submit to this man. And she submitted to the one that he worshipped. And it was over.
Yeah, it was over.
But it's two things you gotta do to have them. It's two things. You got three things. I'm gonna say three things. I'm gonna say three. From this story, the hikmah take one, you gotta be intellectually more superior than her. A woman don't want to be with a man that she feel like she's more intellectual, she intellectually more superior than him.
That's one of the number one things that we have as a problem nowadays. Okay.
Second, I'm gonna tell you a second one. Financially, she was the number two. He was number one. It wasn't nobody messing with Sulaiman alayhi salam. He financially he was on top of her. And then third, and the most important one. The third one is the most important one because it don't matter.
I can't hear you. Say the third one again. You froze up. You froze up. I'm gonna mute you and then I'll mute you. I can't hear you. You froze up. I still ain't hear that third one. I could barely hear you. It still froze up. Your screen is froze up. Your screen still froze. Okay, now it unfroze. I can't hear you though. We want that third one. We heard about two of them. We didn't get the third one, man. I can't hear you. It's too choppy. Keep cutting. Okay. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. What's the third one? Now go back to that third one.
The third one is physical dominance. You got to get it, shut it down when the first two don't work. Now, this is why they go mess with those knuckleheads. This is why they go mess with those knuckleheads, because the knuckleheads got that physical dominance. And by the nature of a woman, she's looking for someone to submit her. And them knuckleheads don't care about going to jail. They don't care about nothing. They got that physical dominance. And that's all I can say. Nature gonna always overtake what people try to change. Allah gave them a nature, and that's what it is. Now Suleiman gave it. He tried. Because he's the king. Yeah.
He said Suleiman.
He's a king. He's the king, and he's the prophet. So he gave her the two choices. But if she didn't take that, he was coming through. He said, "I'm gonna make we're gonna make the high nobles the low people, and we're gonna take over all your land."
Yeah.
So that's I'm gonna leave you, Aki. I'm gonna leave you that. I'm gonna leave you on that note, Habibi.
Oh boy. Oh man.
Real talk though. Real talk.
Yeah,
Hikmah.
yeah.
That's a hikmah.
Yeah. Oh man. So we're gonna close it out right there, my brother. I'm happy to have you on, man. Yeah, brother gonna be taking a trip down to some different places in a minute, man. I'm gonna let you know before I travel, man. And
Inshallah.
Inshallah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna probably be sliding through there. I'm gonna holler at you, man, when I'm passing through, inshallah ta'ala.
All right, inshallah.
Salams.
I might be going in January, Aki. Inshallah. I'm putting my 2 weeks notice in. I'm about to make a move, inshallah.
Okay. Let a brother know. Maybe we cross paths or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or you know what I'm saying?
Right,
give a brother, shoot something in the inbox, let a brother know where you headed to. Okay.
All right, inshallah.
Shukran, Aki.
Oh, it's got me laughing. Oh,